Praise the Lord. This weekend at Mass, we continue through the Gospel of Luke, and we hear someone ask Jesus, "Hey, please tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." And Jesus says, "That is not what it's about." This one hits hard, and here's why. Jesus goes on to tell a story about a man who had a bunch of stuff and not enough space to store it. And so he decides, I know what I'll do is tear down all my barns, build bigger ones, and then I can store all my stuff, eat, drink, and be merry, and live the rest of my life like this. And then Jesus says, God tells him, how foolish you are. Today your life will be demanded of you. Life is so much more than possessions. I recently watched an interview of Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ, and he was talking about the experience, but eventually he was talking about how Mel Gibson had asked him before he actually cast him in that role, are you sure that you want to take on a role like this? Because in today's climate, this might be the end of your career, so to speak, in Hollywood, just because of the nature of doing a Christian movie to that extent. And Jim elaborated on that decision and said, you could take it all. Like, I like having things and I like the money. And he even said, I like Lamborghinis. I like my family and all. But he said, all of that is good as long as you're able to give it back. That hit me hard because it's that giving back that tends to be an issue. I think what Jesus is saying in the gospel this weekend is that anything that you love more than me is going to be an issue. And for some of us, that's money. For some of us, that's our friends. For some of us, it's status. For some of it's the worry about what other people might think. And for some of us, it may be actually the good things like our friends and our family and our relationships. And sometimes it's difficult to think, what happens if Jesus would ask for that back? For whatever reason, that would be very hard. What comes to mind is the story of Job, who was faithful and honorable, and God takes everything from him, or God allows the devil to remove everything from him, but Job remains faithful. And I think sometimes we are called to remain faithful through some tough season. So whatever season you find yourself in, be reminded that today's responsorial psalm is, if today you hear his voice, harden not your heart. And that's so encouraging because no matter what God asks of us, sometimes it's just not going to be easy. But when Jesus comes calling, harden not your heart. It's so easy sometimes to think about, well, I want this way, or I want this way. I think things should be a certain way. And sometimes our ways just aren't God's ways. As a matter of fact, most of the time, I don't think my ways are even close to what God has in store. And so we should really try to do our best to get in agreement with God, get in agreement with his word, and just follow him the best we can. So as you prepare your heart for Mass this weekend, remember, God should be of most importance. And as hard as that is, no matter what season of life you're in, be encouraged. Because if Jesus comes calling, harden not your heart. Have a good weekend.